Hi, everybody. I'm Todd McKim, along with head coach Mike Montgomery. This week's edition of the Cal Basketball Report. Congratulations. You had the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Alan Crabb, and that makes 3 times in the last 4 years that a Cal player has been named Player of the Year.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is they know I can't coach, so they figure I got these great players. And so,
well, that's not the case when you look at the high school rankings of these guys. They weren't 5-star guys.
Yeah, congratulations, Dallin. It's quite an honor, and I think it's deserving. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys you could have probably made a case for, but at the end of the day, I don't. We ended up in second, and everybody focused on Al right from the get-go. He didn't surprise anybody, and he'd probably drawn everybody's best defender and all that kind of stuff. So, and he still managed to have a great year. So, I mean, like I say, there's others that you could probably make a real good case for, but at the end of the day, I think he probably was a logical choice. There's, like I say, UCLA ended up winning it, but I don't know that a freshman should, be in that situation, to be honest with you. So, congratulations, Justin Cobb's second team, and that's good. Good for them.
What's this last couple of days like for you? I mean, you were done with the regular season on Wednesday, and you have no idea who you're going to face in the tournament, the seeding, and all of that kind of stuff. So you're kind of sifting through the Thursday games and the Saturday games.
Well, when you say it lost to Washington State, and then Oregon lost, that game at Colorado, which we had anticipated that, and we thought UCLA might lose at Washington, not necessarily Washington State. It just made that game on Wednesday against Stanford just that much. Just kind of breaks your heart. And we had such a great crowd, and they were just ready to go crazy, and you just are so disappointed. We had won 7 straight games, I think 9 out of 10 at that point, and we were really just surprised everybody in a lot of ways, and had really managed to get ourselves really in a great spot, and just had one more thing to do, and we couldn't do it. So it made it that much more disappointing, And then when Oregon got beat again, you thought, Washington was a 1 game against UCLA. You thought maybe. So it was an interesting outcome.
So this week, you have to prepare for opponents. You don't know exactly who you're going to play, but you have some idea. It's either going to be Utah or it's going to be USC. SC had to suspend a couple of players for an incident in Spokane after their game with Washington State. So how did you approach this week and a little bit of last week?
Well, I think what happens, and I probably have been guilty of this over a lot of years, is we prepare so hard to win every game. By that I mean, this opponent and how we're going to play this opponent, and we're going to play pick and rolls this way, and there's a lot of it changing. We went back, and I think there's been slippage. So we went back and tried to go back to the basic rules, vision, man, and ball, off and toward, who's got the help. We did a lot of reaching against Stanford. We were not in position. The wrong guy was helping. So we went back and tried to go back to the basics that way, and I thought that was good. We went back, same thing offensively, where, who's setting screens, and we got to get screen sets. We got to set better screens. We got to wait for screens, all that kind of thing. We won't really. I mean, we looked at both teams. We know how we played them, how we want to play them. We'll work on the way that we want to handle them in general, as far as pick and roll coverage, point of attack, what they did defensively that we've got to be prepared for. But we won't do anything really specific till Wednesday night after they play. We will then assemble, talk about a game plan, go over it in the morning in terms of how we want to play it. But we will have covered all the eventualities or things that we need to be able to do. So I don't think we'll be caught with anything that we don't know is coming. And basically, we've got to have our enthusiasm up, our energy up. It's a check up from the neck up, really, in terms of getting ready to play and making sure we go out with the right kind of attitude to try to win 3 games. But you can't win 3 games if you don't win 1 game, and that's got to be the way we approach it.
So that'll be Thursday at 6:06 in Las Vegas. What are your thoughts about the tournament moving this year from Los Angeles, the Staples Center, to a truly neutral site, Las Vegas?
Well, I'm not a big Vegas fan from the standpoint. The nightlife doesn't mean much to me, but I'm sure that young people probably look at it a little differently. So I think you have to keep an eye out. I mean, I think you're going to have to be careful. There's always a temptation to potentially get caught in the wrong spot or do something. I think it's unfortunate, but SC proved that. You never know. And so, we'll try to make it about business, and I don't really know. I think for the fans who are going to come and support it, they're the ones that probably going to benefit most from where we're playing and some of the other things that are available to them to do, which is why they might go down and not be too caught up in, well, if our team loses, there's nothing to do. There is something to do. So, but I think for the teams going down there, the ones that are able to concentrate and focus on trying to win games, that's going to be critical.
And what is the importance of the tournament this year for this particular team? Some years you're trying to work your way into the NCAA tournament. Sometimes you're worried about seeding. What is it for this team this year that makes this tournament important?
Well, I think probably based on the last 6 weeks or whatever of the season, we've probably earned the opportunity to be a strong consideration. But you never can take anything for granted in this business, and you can't take anything for granted when it comes to the NCAA tournament. You can have people that look at a specific game and just say, well, if they lose to Harvard, for example, they can't be NCAA worthy, or they do this. I think the circumstances, I mean, people are supposed to look at if you had an injury that might have cost you a game or two. We did. We had Brandon Smith, and, we've got him back now, and actually even Ricky Krecklow's back. I mean, I don't know how much he'll be able to play, but probably more so as we go along. We've beaten ranked teams. We've beaten teams on the road. We've beaten the top 4 teams in the league. We're probably in pretty good shape, but again, it's out of our hands. You can't. If you win games in the tournament, it helps. I had never, when we first started getting in the tournament, let's face it, we hadn't been in a long time across the bay, and so we got in, and first you're just so excited to get in. Seeding's the least of your concerns. The more you get in, the more you realize how critical seeding is. I mean, it can make a huge difference as to your ability to advance. Matchups, the whole deal. So, obviously, being in a seed where you actually have a matchup that's favorable or at least even is huge. And so you'd like to get as high a seed as you can, and the best way to do that is to go through the tournament and prove that you're one of the better teams out there. I mean, I keep looking at all the, whatever Joe Lenardi or any of these other guys know, and they have Colorado in a position where they're fairly highly thought of in terms of a seed, and you say, well, we finished ahead of them in the league, we beat them here the last game, our record's better, but that's the kind of thing that you just can't predict it's a very difficult decision. They sit there and they spend a lot of time, and part of it is your reputation that you have going in. I mean, they're probably just as excited as they can be that Kentucky beat Florida. So that allows them to put them in because that's what they want. The more teams like that they can put in there, the better off they feel about their tournament.
And maybe it helps to have the Pac-12 Player of the Year as well. We'll see how that all turns out.
Yeah, well, we're, Colorado, of course, if they don't have Andre Roberson, that's going to make a difference for them in their ultimate selection. I think that's why their athletic director was a little bit, hey, we don't need to have any more news than we need to have here. But it's exciting time of year, and the unfortunate thing for me, I don't know if it's unfortunate for anybody else, I've just always, it just seems like now is when everybody starts paying attention, and gosh, we've been out here for 5 months, just 6 days a week, just banging and working and trying to get better, and now all of a sudden this is what becomes way more important to the majority of the people, and it's an exciting time of the year for college basketball players. You just hope you have an opportunity to be involved.
Well, we'll see if the Bears get that opportunity. This week it's in Las Vegas, the Pac-12 tournament. Good luck, and we'll talk to you over in Sin City, I guess they call that, right?
It's not for me.
It's not for you? Not for me either. I'm getting at that age where the Barca Lounger is a little bit more exciting than some of the other stuff. All right, we'll see you next week on the Cal Basketball Report.